Back up this direction. It is good to be back. I missed everybody last week. Glad everyone held down the fort without me. I had a good time. Went on a little adventure of my own. I went to Walla Walla, town in Washington that's so fabulous they had to name it twice. Walla Walla. It's fun. Okay, that was dumb. Anyway, so I got to go. I got to speak Friday night to the college students, which was pretty fun. I was scared to death. I had a blast, and then took a class last week and tried to pay attention and surfed on Facebook a lot. It's bad. And it's good to be back here. Talking about adventures. What were some of the big adventures you went on? Anybody? Adventure you shared on, that you shared about at your table? Yeah.
I did a tandem parachute jump for my birthday this year.
Yay! Tandem parachute jump this year. Good job. All right, who else? Yeah.
We got both our four-wheelers and went from horseshoe band and both was there. There's 11 of us. We went up to Montana. 725 miles we went on four-wheelers.
Just on four-wheelers. Wow. Wow, that's impressive. Look at that. That's impressive, because I don't know that I'd have the guts to do that. Good job. Awesome. Well, one more. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, the old story, when I rode my bicycle from California to Michigan, 30 days.
Rode his bike from California to Michigan. That beats anything I've done. That's amazing. That's some cycling, but that's impressive. I remember when I was a kid, I found the greatest toy ever. It's called Legos.
Yeah, man.
How many of you love Legos? Still love Legos?
Tinker Toys!
It's fantastic. Legos are amazing. I got my girls into Legos. They didn't have any. I had to buy some. Did some for myself for Christmas. Well, I didn't buy them. I think my wife bought them for me for Christmas, but yeah. I found something really weird, Randy, and you may not know this, but you need to know this, Randy. I don't know why, but you do. There is a radical difference between how boys play with Legos and how girls play with Legos. Guys build Legos. We build elaborate things so we can destroy them and build something else, right? Girls build Legos so they can have a story. And then they go, and they're going shopping, and then they come back, and then there's a prom. That's what girls do with Legos. It was very hard as a dad. I'm like, why are we destroying something yet? No, that's right. Buy your children Legos. You cannot have enough Legos around the house. They're fabulous. They inspire creativity. When I was a kid, I loved space Legos. How many did the space Legos? Yeah, they were the coolest Legos ever. Because that was like around the era when the space shuttles were getting started and space was still kind of a mystery in the final frontier. I don't know if it's as cool now as it was then. I could use my whole house as, like space, and the living room could be like whole other galaxies that the plane could fly to. And then you had the city and the house Legos and the space Legos, and so sometimes you'd have to use like the white and red ones in your spaceship, but it didn't look right, but you needed the parts, even though it kind of looked kind of silly that there was a green piece or, whatever, right there in the middle of the spaceship. Did you spray paint your Legos? Nice. Did you spray paint your Legos? How many people spray painted their Legos?
No, but I did.
Where's my phone? Let's call your mama. That's fantastic. I never even thought of that. Did it chip off really easy?
Yeah, after a while.
After enough crashes into... Why is there overspray from spray paint everywhere in your bedroom? Just paint my Legos, Mom. That's great. There's something inside of us that longs for adventure, longs for this thing. I remember when I was, before I got my driver's license, when I was like a freshman in high school, wanting to drive, and my mom letting me drive. I flew down to Texas. My parents had moved to Texas in the middle of my freshman year. And I remember going down to Texas, and there the houses, the garages are on the back, not on the front of the house, on the back, and there's an alley that goes down between the houses that you drive on. And my mom, at night, letting me, on my own, by myself, take out the pickup and go driving down the alleys, which was great. I had no fear. I'm going, yay! Not thinking about, like, cats or dogs or small children. It was good fun. There's something inside us that really resonates, at least for me, that resonates with adventure. I want some kind of adventure. I want to challenge. I want to jump out and do that crazy thing. We've been talking about this radical prayer of God. If you have your Bibles, you can go to Luke chapter 10, the New Testament. Luke chapter 10. Jesus is getting ready to send out 70 of his followers to go out and do a missionary trip. And he sits down with them and he gives them this radical prayer. And as we've been studying this, some probably of us are like, yes, I'm there, I'm praying this prayer, this is what I've been longing for, I need something radical. And some of us probably are sitting there going, okay, I don't know if I'm ready for this yet. I'm a little bit scared right now of what might happen. I'm a little overwhelmed. Because you see, the prayer starts out in chapter 2, or chapter 10, verse 2, with Jesus sitting down with the 70 disciples. And he's sitting down with them. It's not a sermon. It's not one of his big lectures. It's like he's just talking with them. He's sitting down with them and saying, hey, you have your Bibles. You look at it. It's up on the screen as well. The harvest is great. And in our context, it's like Jesus sitting across your kitchen table looking at you saying, okay, you have no clue the people around your life right now that are completely ready for something. The people around your life that are looking desperately for something in their life that they don't have. The harvest is huge, and you have no clue. I'm reminded of when I was on the road, we went to this camp meeting. It was a time where people would come and camp and live in cabins and go to meetings. And so they, of course, bring their kids. And the team that I was in, we came and we were doing the youth programs. And at this particular camp that we were at, the youth pavilion was set off in the trees away from everybody else, which is kind of a smart thing because kids are loud. And there was a guy named Tyson who came every day and would sit in the corner, not in the corner, but over to the side. And while everyone was out doing stuff all day long, the pavilion, we didn't really do much during most of the day in there. It was at night most stuff happened. He brought his electric guitar and his amp and he played music endlessly. Practicing about 8 hours a day. Practicing mostly Metallica. He said, I worship God. I worship God. I worship Satan through my music and through my guitar. He says, I worship Satan. He's like, God gave me a gift, but Satan made me good. He said, I decided to worship Satan in listening to Metallica when they came out with the symphony sessions, and I saw them take something, and this was his words, this isn't my interpretation, this is his words. So they took something as beautiful as orchestra music and they combined it with something as evil as their music, and they brought in a lot more people, and I looked at this guy as a master. Satan is a master, and I'm going to serve him. He would sit there and he'd say, you know what, Satan tells me things to say to discredit you guys. To lean over to the kids and say, whisper this. He says, you have no idea what's going on.